You are trained here to be thoughtful viewers. Even if you disagree with certain ideas, the principles of being a critically thinking audience demand that you allow the Frankenthusiast to finish presenting the episode.
Heresy!
This episode was selected for the Vollingen Award. What's that? That's not important. But it was selected precisely because it contains an original view. Now, if there's anyone here who is unable or unwilling to hear the rest, I suggest you leave now. Frankenthusiast, will you please continue?
Thank you. I don't know about you, but I love made-for-TV movies. There's something about them that's just the perfect amount of cheese mixed with the right amount of sincerity. Sets and outfits are usually surprisingly good, special effects will be pretty rough, and performances within the same scene will range from, yeah, that's what I expect from a TV movie, to genuinely I think this guy deserves an Oscar. With Frankenstein being such a classic work of literature, it's had many TV versions, including the one we covered in our very first episode. It's a smart choice for studio content. It's in the public domain, so you're not paying for rights, and it's a well-known property that someone will immediately recognize. And who better to do it than one Dan Curtis, known for creating the famous Gothic TV series Dark Shadows and the Night Stalker horror films. When he developed the script for this film, he genuinely wanted to make it a good attempt at capturing Mary Shelley's original story. Unfortunately, he had a number of constraints, both in terms of time and budget, so the Frankenstein we get is a bit retooled and simplified. There's no Walton, there's no Arctic or mountains, and there's certainly no burning windmill a la the 1931 film. The trade-off is this movie is very focused on characters and emotions, and honestly, I think it pays off. So, on January 16 and 17 in 1973, ABC's Wide World of Mystery debuted the two-part Frankenstein film. It was well received at the time, but was seemingly swept aside by, one, a more successful Dan Curtis film, the previously mentioned Night Stalker, that actually debuted at the same time, and a bigger budgeted, more dramatic Frankenstein film that came out months later called Frankenstein: The True Story. We will absolutely do an episode on that one day. It's 3 hours long and wild. But that left this film alone and mostly forgotten about. It got rerun here and there and was eventually made available for home video through Thriller Video. That was the version of the film I originally watched, actually. For those who aren't familiar, Thriller Video was Elvira's collection of direct-to-video films, which means when I watched this, I had bumpers from Elvira herself talking to me about this film.
I'm just as pleased as Judy to see that you've selected for your viewing displeasure that classic of classics, Frankenstein. It's a sympathetic portrayal. The monster has the heart of a small child, the spleen of a lady from Pacoima, the brain of a certain Professor Lickman, but the heart of a small child.
Which was utter whiplash after the very, very sad ending, let me tell ya. I had never heard of this movie. It wasn't even on my list of Frankenstein things to check out until, that is, one of you reached out and told me to take a look. That's right, a very kind soul emailed us at upfrankenfiles@gmail.com and said, hey, have you heard of this film? I think you might like it. And by God, they were right. The story of this film is mostly straightforward, but with enough slight quirks that I can't just hand-wave it and say, Frankenstein stuff. So, here's the summary. We open with Victor reading his paper and getting loudly rejected by his colleagues. They're not fond of the ideas in his work, namely the idea that science should create a superhuman. Victor, somewhat dejected, goes back to his lab, where his two schoolmates and best friends, Hugo and Otto, are helping him to do exactly that. Make a superhuman. The only thing they're missing is a heart. They try to go grave robbing for one, but Hugo is shot by a night guard, and with his dying breath tells them to use his heart in the experiment. This is all interrupted by the unexpected arrival of Victor's father, fiancée Elizabeth, and best friend Henry. I say unexpected in large quotes because the letter announcing their arrival is on the table, and Victor hasn't bothered to read it because it's not science. He does his best to distract them and send them on their way to the inn that they're staying at so that he can go get back to said science. When a storm arises that night, Victor and Otto do the experiment, and after some time it works. Their man comes to life, but he's incredibly strong and developing quickly. What does one do with a giant toddler that can easily overpower you? You can't leave him alone, and even supervision doesn't stop him from accidentally strangling the man who wouldn't let him play ball. Rest in peace, Hugo and Otto. I had you for both less than 10 minutes, and I miss you all so much already. From here, we have classic Frankenstein activity. The creature escapes, goes through the countryside, accidentally terrorizing people. He attempts to be among humanity, learning from a family in secret, but it goes wrong. Victor tries to hide all of this from his family, and they keep asking him invasive questions like, "How are you? What's going on? Why are you so clearly in extreme duress? Would you please let us help you?" It's obscene, really. The creature encounters William, who thinks the monster's hurt, and cries out for Victor to come help. The creature, afraid to be seen, accidentally kills William and runs away. When Victor finally finds the creature, he's not immediately recognized as his creator. Once he is, though, the creature demands his help. Because if Victor made him, he can make another like him, so he won't be alone. Victor agrees at first, but changes his mind, leading to the creature killing Henry in retaliation. Victor tries to run away with Elizabeth, but the monster follows and kills her too. The two have one final confrontation, each trying to kill the other. Victor dies accidentally in the struggle, and the creature is shot by the pursuing police until he finally dies, holding Victor's body in his arms. And then Elvira shows up, and everything's okay again! Yay! Thank you, Elvira!
Gee, I don't know about the way this movie ended. Ended sort of like on the downbeat side, didn't it? I mean, I was looking forward to that scene where the angry villagers all banded together to become an avenging mob, and then with rakes and hoes and torches and hounds, they'd track that big galoot down and waste him.
Oh, geez, okay, not super helpful, Elvira, damn. But I really want to get into this movie. There is so much to dig into here. We are given a rich text to play with, and I need to talk about all of it. So, let's take our tenets and dive in. It's animation. There's some mention of reanimation with Hugo's heart and the creature's brain having belonged to a professor whose passion was astronomy, but neither of those have any lasting effect. Victor and Otto show the creature a telescope to try to trigger that professor's latent memories, and the creature just crumples the thing like it's cardboard. He doesn't know what it is. He's a new being who has never existed and is learning everything for the first time. This movie does really well with the creature as a baby. A lot of films try to do it, but a lot of them I feel miss the mark. This one really sings with it. You see the creature's mental development as he grows from just a curious giant toddler to the angry wronged man he comes to be. He's so confused when Otto's corpse won't play with him after he accidentally kills the man. He doesn't recognize his reflection at first, thinking it's magic. Slowly, over time, he figures these things out through brutal trial and error. You watch each lesson happen. You see him start to put these things together. We're gonna talk more about this later. I also want to quick shout out the very classic laboratory set here. It's beautiful and exactly what you'd expect when you tell someone at ABC, "Hey, can you make me a Frankenstein laboratory set?" Got it in one. Who'd they get for this? Ken Adams? Am I right, ladies? What's a little confusing here is Victor's plan. At the beginning, he states that as scientists, they should be working to negate death. According to Victor, the way to do this is to design and build a superhuman in a laboratory.
The future of man lies in our hands. If the world is to continue to change and grow, if we're to realize the enormous potential open to us, then man himself must change. The race must find the strength necessary to control all the forces of nature. With that strength, we can rule the universe. But how is this to be accomplished? Not by selective breeding, not by training. If superhumans are to exist, then it is clearly our duty as scientists to create that life in the laboratory. We've
Now, how does creating a new life lead to stopping death? Well, from what it seems, Victor didn't think he was animating, but reanimating. He put the brain of a professor he knew into the creature, and at the beginning insists those dormant memories will return. He wasn't prepared for raising a new life, but eventually he realizes that's where he's at, and with Hugo and Otto dead, he's going to be doing it on his own. At first, he decides to kill the creature. It's almost full on of mice and men. But unlike George, Victor can't go through with it. It's not the creature's fault Victor wasn't ready for this. He puts the gun down and instead decides that he will, to the best of his meager ability, try to teach the creature. This goes wrong, of course, because again, Victor is not prepared. He doesn't know what he's doing and he will not ask for help. Now, again, I don't see how building a superhuman saves humanity. If the idea is we build super bodies for everyone and put their brains into those bodies, those materials to make those bodies will still have to come from somewhere. Victor dismisses ideas of eugenics and selective breeding, but he did have to select what and whose parts he was going to use. He didn't grow this body, he stole it in chunks. If his work here were to become widespread and people started making super bodies, the ideas of eugenics would come along with it undoubtedly. But while I don't understand his idea, it does show Victor as being the grand visionary that he is, which I appreciate. He has grand aspirations about what he can achieve with science.
What's interesting about this, too, is that there's no framing of Victor's want to create life as a response to his grief. In adaptations, there's usually a lot of emphasis put on some early loss in Victor's life, making him obsessed with the idea of preventing people from dying. This has none of that. Victor's mother isn't even mentioned. Both of these are actually classic Victor. In the original novel, Victor's goal is to make life, to be the father of a new species. He didn't really seem to have a reason for it other than to prove that he could, and that science and alchemy could still make great things happen. He gives a half-hearted mention that maybe if he can make life from dead tissue, he can keep people from dying, but that's not really his focus here. His focus here is proving he can make a life, that he's the smart one who figured it out, with no real thought to what it actually means to make a life. This movie follows that pretty well. For all the folks out there saying they wanted a more book-accurate portrayal of Victor, this one's pretty up there. This movie does really well with this point. Victor comes out swinging with self-isolation. His family arrives, and he didn't even read the letter saying they were coming because he hasn't checked the mail in days. Now that they are here, he won't talk to them about his work. He takes every opportunity to deny them access to him out of his incredible and insufferable pride. He gets furious in their presence when he hears stories about the monster in the countryside, but won't explain what's going on. Or if he does it in obfuscated terms that he knows they won't understand.
A man had a brother, and this brother's body was very strong, very fully developed, but his mind was that of a baby. He killed someone not knowing what he was doing, and then he ran away. The man couldn't find him, though he kept searching for weeks, months.
Searching for whom?
Characters, that's all. A book I'm writing.
You're writing a book?
And they're not stupid. They can tell this man is an absolute wreck, but he refuses to let them in. This escalates to the point in the story where Elizabeth is fully going to leave him.
I won't let you go.
You lost that right the night I came to the laboratory.
Elizabeth, please.
I tried to understand. I told myself that as your wife, it was something I'd have to learn to live with, but if it's done this to you now, what hope is there for the future?
It will be over soon. Just one last experiment. I promise you that.
What can it be that you're so ashamed of you can't tell me?
I ask for your faith. Just a little more time.
You have had my faith, but I have no more time.
I can't live without you.
You do live without me, Victor.
It is beautiful, and it is gutting. He is constantly telling his family to go away and leave him alone, and then, as the walking contradiction he is, gets upset when they try to leave. He insists nothing's wrong and refuses help of any kind, even after they learn his secret. Victor refuses to let a single person in to the very end. Meanwhile, in classic form, the creature finds himself in the world and cannot seem to make sense of it despite his best efforts. He tries to make friends and is punished for it. He doesn't know his own strength and he hurts people. All he understands is that people scream and run and attack when they see him. He hides in the house of DeLacy and wants so badly to be a part of their community. He literally makes this potato puppet just to have someone he can talk to. He does so much to try and be worthy of their love so that they might love him, and it just doesn't work. He's still alone. When he meets Victor, he doesn't know the man and is just delighted to have someone in this world who isn't afraid of him or run away from him. Even when he figures out who Victor is, the monster doesn't kill him because Victor is still someone who will talk to him. When Victor dies, he can't bear to be thrown back to that complete isolation. He dies clutching the only person he really knew and whoever really knew him. It's such a bitter ending, but it makes perfect sense. Seriously, Bo Svensson does such a good job with this role. He brings such a heartbreaking emotionality that is so beautiful to see, countered with this confused, uncontrolled fury that stems from his grief and pain. It plays out on the screen in such a way that is so well done, I can't help but fall in love with. You really get to see the journey he goes on, from infant to hurt child to resentful outcast. The only thing the creature ends up with is the brief reconciliation he and Victor have at the end. Victor finally apologizes and expresses affection for the man that he made. The creature gets this one moment of tenderness. Victor this one moment of honest intimacy. And then Victor dies. You watch the creature lose his last shred of hope, and it is utterly crushing. Your heart breaks for this person who's only ever wanted to be loved. This is a made-for-TV version of the story, and it's cheesy as hell. But you cannot deny the heart is there. And that's why I love it. I love when an adaptation does family right. It's so much nicer than when it doesn't. It makes my job easier because I can just point at the things that are there rather than trying to do an autopsy on a bunch of blasted pieces. Victor's family is very prominent in this version. From the moment they arrive in the narrative, they are trying to be a part of Victor's life and get involved. Their dynamic is established as a loving family who cares for Victor, and Victor who loves his family, but not enough to not lie to them.
I am glad to see you.
When Henry gave us the news, I decided Elizabeth and I would come too.
Well, you must be tired. Let me send you to the inn.
What hospitality! Not even a cup of coffee for your father and your fiancé?
And I want to see where you live, your laboratory, everything. Is this the way to the drawing room?
Perhaps later. I'm sorry. I'm very busy now. I must get back to my work, you see.
Well, let us come with you. I'm interested to see what you're doing.
No, Father. I can't. It would disturb things. I'm sorry. I'll see you to the inn. Wait here, please.
The tension builds from there. Victor won't tell anyone what's going on, no matter how many times they ask. And boy, do they ask.
Victor, what on earth happened to you?
Why didn't you meet us?
I'm sorry, I couldn't. Something went wrong with my experiment.
I was just about to look for you in your lab.
You didn't go up there.
No.
Victor, what's wrong?
Nothing. It's just that well, your visit, it's come at a very bad time for me, that's all.
I didn't want to embarrass you in front of Elizabeth. But I think you owe me an explanation of your behavior.
Why do we have to wait till the end of November? Can't we be married sooner?
No, we've set the date. I think we should stick to it. If everything's all right, we'll be married as planned.
Why shouldn't everything be all right?
No reason. Victor, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm here once and for all to find out what's wrong with you.
Nothing's wrong. I've been working.
You know, for a time I thought everything was all right. But now I see it started all over again, hasn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
When was the last time you were at the university?
What is it you're hiding, Victor?
Nothing! Victor, you've known me all your life. Now, surely you remember I'm not an idiot. Now, won't you tell me what's wrong? Let me try to help.
If you trust me, have patience, perhaps things will be different. In time. But I can't even promise that.
And what about Elizabeth?
I can't think about Elizabeth now! Can't you see you're torturing me? Leave me alone. I've told you all I can. Leave me alone.
I honestly can't think of a version of Frankenstein that has more scenes of people pushing back on Victor than the way this one does. Henry and Elizabeth especially have phenomenal scenes of just being angry with Victor for the way he's acting. You can tell it's not out of malice, but out of love. They know that something's wrong and they want to help. Victor loves his family, and it's a genuine struggle for him to hide what he's doing from them while also trying to be a part of their life. It's a struggle that's his own fault, of course. He genuinely thinks he's protecting people. His family is constantly giving him opportunities to let them in, and he refuses every time, all the way to the end. Another thing I really like about this movie is the number of scenes the family has without Victor. Like, yes, they're still talking about him, but they exist outside of him. They do things without him. They live lives that don't always involve him. Yes, they want him to be a part of it, but they do go on when he's not there. They have their own dynamics that feel real. They feel like a family. On top of the regular family, I also want to discuss Victor's two colleagues, Hugo and Otto. It's very rare in films like these that Victor has companions or friends. Usually he's either entirely by himself or he has some kind of lesser lackey to bully. Otto and Hugo are certainly treated as lesser by the narrative, and Victor clearly has the final say on group decisions, but Victor clearly loves these two and cares about them. He's weirdly calm about disposing of their bodies and faking their deaths, but he is certainly deeply touched by them in his life. They're less like lackeys, like a hunchback assistant, and closer to friends and companions. They celebrate Victor, they see and appreciate his vision, even if they're not as gung-ho about it as he is. They're both sacrificed in the line of the story, and tragically not really brought up again after. You could see this as Victor desperately trying to keep focus so he doesn't lose his damn mind, but I really wish there was at least something, even just a "I know you have a good heart because it belonged to someone I loved" at the end. Like, just something, please. Justice for Hugo and Otto. And then, of course, we have the House of DeLacy. This is a version of the DeLacys that I actually really enjoyed. So often their part of the story can feel like a distraction from the main tale, but this version does put some real emphasis on these characters that makes their screen time feel worth it. They have lives and relationships that are interesting. This version even has Safi from the original story, though instead of being Arabic, she's Spanish. She's marrying Felix and learning English from his blind sister, Agatha, all under Father DeLacy's loving watch. It's not without its issues, of course, because the way this story handles a blind woman is frankly terrible, and boy, there's some goofy acting choices here.
Agatha,
I'm all right, Papa.
come back in. Dance with me.
No, Papa. It's no good to pretend I can see when I can't. I should know there are many, many things I will never do. I will never dance or have friends or marry or see.
But there's so much in this section that is beautiful. The DeLacys also feel like a real family. They're happy, they're sad, they're supporting each other, gently bullying each other, living a joyful life. It's kind of really cool because in watching these people live their lives as a viewer, you start to feel like the creature yourself, watching them through that solid fourth wall in between. The issues start when the creature tries to reach through that wall. There is a scene in here where the creature goes into the house while everyone is out and starts practicing addressing the family. If he's just polite enough or says the right words, maybe that will override whatever it is that makes people hate him when they see him. So he practices.
Miss Agatha. Good evening. Mr. DeLacy? How do you do? Oh, no, thank you. I am too nervous to sit. Thank you. Is nervous, right? I am not used to being with people. They do not treat me. No. Have not treat me kindly. I do not know why. Perhaps, sir, you have an opinion? Or is it unfair of me to ask? I practice.
When he finally speaks to them, of course, it goes wrong. He's denied a family. The joy of the DeLacys that we've been watching will never be his. Ever. His last attempt at family is to make Victor make him a woman. But when Victor deliberately overloads her body with electricity, the creature is ultimately betrayed. His mantra for the last part of the film is repeating, "You broke your promise," to Victor. This last and yet first and most bitter relationship he has with his maker becomes the vessel for everything awful inside of him. He swears his vengeance. In their final confrontation, he taunts Victor saying, "You will die when I'm ready to kill you." The creature's been so wronged by this person who was supposed to protect him and help him. And yet, when Victor falls and is impaled in a complete accident, the creature rushes to him. This last and first and most bitter relationship is all he has left. He even says, "I can't live without you," which is something Victor said to Elizabeth earlier in the movie. Victor, this whole time, has been conflicted in himself. When this whole thing started, he was delighted to be the creature's father. He was so excited to see what the creature could do and know. I don't think he ever even truly hates the creature until he kills Henry and Elizabeth. And even then, he likely blames himself for it, knowing the creature only did it in retaliation. Victor, throughout this film, has fear, but overall still has a kind of love for this person he's made. His dying words are surprisingly affectionate.
Go away high into the mountains where you can be free.
But I can never be free.
It's not your fault. It's mine. I failed you. I didn't teach you.
Please, please, live. Live. We will go away.
No more revenge. After I die, no more revenge. Forgive. You must learn to forgive.
And then he dies. It's a beautiful, bitter complication. The creature never got a family. Victor ignored his family and lost all of them. In the end, the only thing these two had was each other. It wasn't enough to save either of them, but I do think it matters. It didn't change anything, but it mattered. From the very abrupt opening of this movie, there's a lot of people upset with the major moral issues being flouted, and even Professor Waldman is concerned about Victor's cavalier nature regarding such a morally loaded concept as creating life. He tries to tell Victor to go slow, to be careful, and to think about his actions. And Victor in the next scene says, "We're making the monster tonight. Why? Because I want to go back to school on Monday and know I proved all my classmates wrong." Ugh, Victor's such an asshole. I love him. Now, while an angry mob of students can be ignored and dismissed, #Science Besties Hugo and Otto also raise some concerns as well, tentatively asking to leave the unethical science behind, saying they may have already gone too far.
There's a storm coming tonight. We must be ready for it.
We can't be. Not tonight.
No, the body, it's not ready. It will be ready.
Victor, we haven't experimented enough yet. We need more time.
I agree with Hugo. In fact, I think we've already gone too far. Victor, I mean what I'm saying. I think it might be better if we stopped. Let's turn back while there is still time. Well, that time has passed. We passed it weeks ago in cemeteries and charnel houses. Do you think I've lived through that horror to turn back now when the end is in sight?
Victor, it's
My
not...
friend, have faith. Trust in me for a while yet. We're so close.
Eventually, Hugo changes his mind after being shot. To him, this is the greatest scientific discovery, and so makes the greatest sacrifice for it.
Professor Millar. No, he couldn't help. Millar is one of the best surgeons in the country. We must get him. Victor, he'd see everything. He'd know what we were doing. I don't care. Get him now.
No, you must not go.
You must lie still. Go get Millar.
No, don't waste time. Millar can do nothing. No one can. I want you to go on with the experiment.
The experiment is over.
No.
Hugo, we can't. And even if we could,
No,
we don't have
waste time. You can. With my heart, you will.
Don't you understand? I could never do that.
But I want you to. I'm begging you. What a joke on fate. I'll be immortal. Victor, please. Please promise me. At least let my death mean something. Promise me.
And once we have a consenting donor in Hugo, that kind of ticks the ethics box and gives Victor the go-ahead. From there, Otto's sunk cost fallacy and making Hugo's death mean something really kicks in. But after Otto dies too, Victor's on his own, which is kind of a shame. I was really interested in the potential of these new characters, but once we get into the classic Frankenstein stuff, a lot of the new material from this version is kind of left behind. I wanted them to be more than just fodder for Victor's emotional trauma. What would the dynamic have looked like if there was someone else working with Victor who did know what was going on? Someone Victor couldn't have shut out since they were there from the beginning. I'm just saying it would have been nice. They were great boys. I wish I'd had them a little longer. Either way, with Hugo and Otto dead, the only person who knows what Victor did is Victor. The only person who does find out in this film is Henry, who does his best dramatic chipmunk impression. He finds the female creature's body and confronts Victor.
You don't understand. Oh, but I do understand. Only too well, or have you forgotten? Will you? And there will be others murdered. He promised to go away with her and never return. And you believe that? I have to. I have no choice. No choice! You've created human life from parts of the dead so that he thinks, acts, and talks like a human. But what about his soul, Victor? Did you give him a soul? Can you give her a soul? Will she know good from evil, right from wrong, any more than he does?
My one struggle is I don't think Henry goes hard enough on Victor here. I think this should have been a bigger moment to really revel in the horror of what Victor has done, and what Victor is clearly willing to do again. If I'm Henry, and my best friend has been shutting me up for months, ruining the life of his partner and ostracizing his father after the death of his brother, and I find out that not only did he have something to do with the man who killed his brother, but he's making another, you're gonna get more than an angry stare and a strongly worded letter from me, I'll tell you that much. Other than Henry's one interjection, Victor doesn't really have anyone confront him until the monster finds him toward the end. And even then, it takes the creature a while to understand exactly why he should be pissed at Victor. For the vast majority of the story, the moral conflict is internal. And it's a very interesting way to play it, one that's very in line with the original novel. In it, Victor keeps his secret from his family the whole time until it gets everyone, except Ernest, killed while he stews in his own guilt. But that's a novel, where we're reading from Victor's perspective, and he tells us what's going on in his mind. This is a movie where things need to be shown or said to the audience. When the creature does understand, it doesn't take him long to start asking some major questions.
I do not even have a name. I want to be like others, but I am different. Can you tell me why? Please. Can you help me?
He's had nothing but these big questions that he hasn't been able to answer. Finally, he gets to the man who made him, and what does Victor have to say? Nothing. Not a damn word. There's a bit of back and forth here in my mind. I do like an aspect of this, showing Victor being so unable to explain himself, maybe because he's finally realized how in the wrong he was to do this in the first place. What could he possibly say to this person that he's let down so completely? But I also think this is partially a failure on the script's end. It does feel like they just kind of didn't bother to have Victor even try to explain himself. They pretty quickly move on to the bride plotline, and the why of everything is kind of left to the wayside. Using an internal struggle in a visual medium only works if you take the time to show it. Who knew? A lot of Frankenstein media will talk about the creature being a giant infant, but this version really uses that idea and does it well. They spend the time to show him as this giant child who doesn't know his own strength. He learns basic words and uses them to communicate as best he can his wants and needs. He gets better at it as he gets older, developing pretty quickly over only a few months. By the time Victor sees him again, he can speak in full sentences and has understanding of serious abstract concepts. Even Victor seems impressed when they finally get to catch up. The thing that keeps coming up with the creature is that he doesn't mean to hurt anybody, which for most of the film does seem to be true. He's not trying to hurt anyone, but every time he finds himself around others, he tends to end up having to defend himself, or even with Otto, just doesn't know his own strength, and a temper tantrum from a kid who wants to play accidentally takes a life.
Tell me who you are. I'm Victor Frankenstein. Tonight you killed my brother. Why? What had he ever done to you? He was only a child.
I didn't mean to harm him. I came upon him playing. And when he tried to call out, But I only wanted to quiet him.
But you didn't just quiet him, you killed him.
Please, try to understand. I did not want to harm the boy. When he saw my wounded arm, he offered to help me. I did not want to hurt him.
Then it was you I shot in the woods?
Yes. But I do not understand. Why did you shoot me? I don't want to hurt anyone, but I cannot help it. I cannot help it.
I know.
He's not trying to be destructive. Until he is. Until he feels like there's no reason to try to avoid it, because it happens anyways. All he knows is he is different, and people hate him when they see him. So he's learned to hate himself.
People run with fright at the sight of me. Children scream with terror.
You can't blame yourself for that.
But it is my face, my body. I have all the hurt in the world inside me. You cannot give me any more.
When he finally understands who Victor is and what he's done, he's furious. All he understands is people hate him for something he can't control, and the person who made him that way has no answers. But despite what the creature says, it's clear that violence isn't just the way he is. Several people, when they first interact with him, see him as just a normal man. One who's been hurt, sure, but they don't see him as a monster outright. The violence he displays at first is more accidental than anything. In his final words, Victor says,
"It's not your fault. It's mine. I failed you. I didn't teach you."
Maybe if the creature had just had better care than 2 college students doing their best, maybe nothing would have happened. No one would have gotten hurt. No one would have died. Except for Hugo. We do have to kill Hugo because his heart is in the creature, so he would still have had to go. But more people would have known to mourn him, okay? R.I.P. Hugo, you are missed. If only by me. This film is a classic period piece, though deeply, deeply drenched in the vibe of cheesy 70s cinema. The whip pans, the quick zooms, even the hair are all so of their era, it's delicious. I am incredibly serious when I say they simply do not make them like this anymore. These sets, these characters, these costumes, who would shell out the kind of money it would take for these sets for a TV movie? The 70s were really a time of revitalized filmmaking. You had the end of the Hays Code controlling your story, the end of the traditional studio system, not to mention 1973 being the year American involvement in Vietnam technically ended. At this time in major cinema, you've got things like The Godfather, Deliverance, Serpico, The Exorcist coming out. Soon to be big names like Spielberg and George Lucas were coming out with new films that dared to be big and heavy. Obviously, this film is no Godfather, but it is a Frankenstein that actively asks bigger questions than the films of the 30s or the 50s. Its complications are more explicit. It's not content with being a creature feature or a horror fest. It captures that complication of the original novel surprisingly well. Is it also incredibly cheesy and kinda hokey to the modern eye? Absolutely! And I wouldn't change a damn thing! This is a great film for agency. Obviously, Victor and the creature, but we also see Henry disregarding what Victor says, and Elizabeth fully prepared to leave Victor. It's good. It's not just the Victor and creature show. Other people are here and are affected by their actions. But specifically on the topic of agency, I want to talk about the creature in the ending. A lot of adaptations either end in the ambiguous way that the novel does, with the monster taking Victor's body and wandering off into the tundra. This film doesn't. This film shows you the creature scream at the police and get shot repeatedly. You watch him still carry away Victor until he's been shot too many times and collapses.
Forgive me.
There's a few ways to read this. You can say this is the creature simply yelling at these intruders who hate him while he's grieving. But the first time I watched it, I thought, that's suicide by cop. He tells Victor he can't live without him, and when Victor's truly gone, what is there to go on for? A world that hates him? It's hard to know exactly what choice it is he's making here. But he made one, and it's visceral. This film is an underappreciated gem. It is so unknown, even in the circles of Frankenstein nuts like myself. Again, I wouldn't have known about this if one of you hadn't emailed me to tell me about it. It's cheesy, sure. Some of the effects and acting choices are really silly. It's a bit long, yeah, but so is the 2004 Hallmark version, and that's lauded as one of the best Frankenfilms that's out there. There is so much in this version that I think really captures the heart of what people love about Frankenstein. For all its goofier aspects, the emotions and dynamics in this film are so earnest and delivered surprisingly well. It's more faithful to the text than some versions, and even where it deviates textually, this film is still more faithful to the spirit of the novel than others. I'm not saying it should have won awards or anything, but I do think it should be better known and better appreciated. Earnest work and effort went into what turned out to be quite a lovely film, and I just hope I've made that case to you, because right now it's just me, the viewer who emailed us, and Elvira spreading the good word. Thank you so much for watching. It's always so appreciated. And if there's a niche version of Frankenstein that you think doesn't get enough love, you can please email it to us at upfrankenfiles@gmail.com and tell us all about it. We always want to hear more. And remember, if things are falling apart, you can always stitch them back together. Till next time.
Angry.
Heresy!
Big Bone Club.
I've just received some terrible news. My colleague, my best friend, really, Otto Roger, has been in an accident. He's dead.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place.
It's been a long day without you, my friend.
I'll be immortal.
And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you